Um. Okay. So that sucked. Okay, let's just start this out here. I'm a huge fan of this original film. And as in, it was my childhood movie. It was the one that I constantly turned on. If you have kids, you kind of know what that's about. Where they have the one movie where they continuously turn on over and over again and are just never bored with it. That's what the original Lion King is to me. So I had to see this movie. I was so pumped for it. I was so hyped for it. And I am disappointed. I really am. I let all my anger out a little bit, so I'm not going to really rant too much about it, but it was bad. Oh, this was bad. First, let me start out with the cast. This was an all-star cast. This was an amazing cast. Donald Glover and Beyonce and Seth Rogen, Billy Eichner. The return of James Earl Jones. I read everything about this and I was like, oh my god, this is going to be so exciting. This is going to be so much fun. I can't wait for it. Everything about this should have been perfect. They got the director of The Jungle Book, Jon Favreau. He did this. He used this technology before to create these animals, and I loved The Jungle Book. I did. I loved The Jungle Book, so all these pieces are here. Let's do this. And guess what? If you saw the original movie, congrats, you know this, because it's not like any other Disney remake. It's the same movie. Word for word, they took the script of the original movie and just copy and pasted it here. That's literally all they did. There was nothing new about this, which, I mean, yeah, if it's a remake, I guess that's what you're supposed to do. I assume, but that's not what lots of the other ones did. Lots of the other ones, like Beauty and the Beast and even the new one, this new Aladdin, didn't do that. They have the same premise, most of the same premise, the same characters, most of the same things happen, but there's a little bit of differences. There's a few things that happen differently. And that's one thing that I liked about at least those other ones. I liked a lot of those. Not all of them were perfect. I was a little with Beauty and the Beast. I did like the new Aladdin. I thought that was interesting. I liked Will Smith's take on the genie and everything like that. So I thought that one was good. But this was an exact recreation. And so you would say to yourself, oh, well, if it's the same thing, that would be right. Or that would be okay. If that's the same thing, that would be fine. But it's not. This is not okay. This was not good. Visually, it's absolutely stunning. The way that this technology can create an animal and make it so real and lifelike, because they look real. These look like real animals. Like they actually filmed real animals. That's what it looks like. And that's fantastic. That is so cool to me. Because they did the same thing in the Jungle Book. And so that's what made me so excited about this. But there's no expressions to them. They don't have any life to them. They're very hollow. There's lots of they look like real animals, and I'm not sure how much real animals convey emotion like this. I mean, I've watched nature documentaries, and I feel like they got more emotion than this freaking movie. In the original animated film, there was concern. Like a big example would be like, I'm going to spoil things for you. You should already know the plot of it. It's the same exact plot. Nothing's changed. The biggest thing that I remember was Mufasa, Scar going up to Mufasa and saying, there's a stampede in the gorge, Simba's down there. And that's a very emotional thing. You know, Mufasa's, throughout this whole entire movie, all we see is Mufasa caring about Simba, looking after him, make sure that he doesn't do anything bad or get himself into trouble. And then finally, Scar goes up to him, Simba's down in the gorge, and Mufasa's just sitting there like, Simba, oh no. What happened? You're a freaking lion, and you can't show like just eyebrows. Oh, That's all you needed to do. That's all you had to do. They couldn't even do that. And the dialogue was so bad. As I said, this was an all-star cast. These are amazing actors. Donald Glover was actually pretty good as Simba. I'll give him that. He showed probably the most emotion out of anybody in the entire cast. He sounded excited to be there. It sounded like he wanted to do this. Beyonce as Nala was fine. She didn't have that much to do. I could tell that they were trying to give her more of a female empowerment thing, which is fine. It was a fine thing, give her more of a role. She had a fight at the end with Shenzi, the female hyena, which they gave Shenzi a little bit more of a leadership role as the kind of the leader of the hyenas at that point, which that was fine. I mean, it didn't really change. That was one little minor change, but it didn't do anything. Didn't make me think one way or the other, really. So then they kind of had Nala and Shenzi have their own little semi-climactic battle, if you will. But Beyonce didn't do much. She wasn't really in the movie that much, so there was nothing really for her to do. So for all the hype around Beyonce's in this movie, oh, she's going to control the whole thing, she wasn't really there. Not that much. The guy that played Scar, I don't know who that is. And that's, he was better than the Jafar that was in this new Aladdin. He was much better than him. That Jafar was pretty bad. Scar was okay, but the biggest one that broke my heart was James Earl Jones as Mufasa. And now I know that sounds weird because it's the same voice actor. Why would that upset you? Because it was him, but he didn't do it correct. I know that sounds really strange, but he re-recorded all these lines, and I can compare it to the original movie because it's the same damn voice actor. It's the same guy. He did these same exact lines, but he just did them so piss poor. It sounded like he was just like, he half-assed it, honestly. I'm not sure if it was a directing thing saying, oh, no, that was good, you can have that take. Or just, he was just like, I think that's a good one, so great, let's do it. I'm done. The emotion that you're supposed to have as a voice actor. Most of these people don't have it, but especially James Earl Jones. He didn't have it. There was no emotion. As I said before, Simba's in the gorge. Simba. It's not only the lions not emitting the emotion, the animals not showing the emotion with their hollowed eyes and not showing anything with sort of eyebrows, kind of like human characteristics. No, then you have to sell it with your voice. And they don't. There's nothing with their voice. They don't do anything. They're bored. They sounded like they're bored. So, Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen as Timon and Pumbaa, they were okay, I guess. I mean, there were some parts that were funny. I thought they had good chemistry together, but it wasn't so much the voice actors in this instance that was the problem. It was the lines. The dialogue, which they, for once, changed, was not funny. It was a little pop culture-esque. They did a long time saying, "Oh, I just can't even. Oh, I can't even." That went on a little too long. That's something that's very timely. That's something that we say now. So, haha, I get it. It's somewhat funny, but overall their lines didn't really work. They had similar traits as the ones prior, like instead of "they called me Mr. Pig" from the original movie, a hyena called Pumbaa Chubby, in which he was like, "Oh, well, you don't call me chubby. How dare you call me chubby?" And then he beats all the hyenas. Same thing. Rafiki was absolutely pointless to this movie. You could have taken Rafiki out of this movie. The only thing that Rafiki did to me was hold up lion at the beginning and end of the movie. The whole scene with learning from your past, that was a big deal in the movie because that's the whole reason Simba wouldn't return to Pride Rock in the first place, because he was running from his past. He was afraid because He thought that he killed Mufasa, and so he was running away from everything, so then he had the mentality of no worries. This is the plot. This is how this works. And Rafiki was supposed to put it in there and say, no, you gotta face it. You can't run from it or learn from it. None of those lines are even said. That line is not said at all. Which I feel like kills a big heart of this movie. That is the heart of this movie. Learning from your past, learning to do that, and it wasn't there. The biggest thing that I have with this movie, honestly, was a runtime. I know I've complained about, really long movies before, but this movie wasn't that long. It was less than 2 hours. But it was padded. Now, usually whenever they make these new live-action remakes, they pad them with something. But the things that it was padded didn't deserve to be padded. At the expense of everything else. As an example, like the beginning scene in the original movie where Scar catches a mouse and he just puts his paw on the mouse and he says, life's not fair. That whole entire thing. That went on for what felt like 5 whole minutes. The scene of just a mouse running around before Scar caught it, it felt like forever. Honestly. And that's felt like 5 minutes, honestly. That's 5 minutes right there that didn't need to be there. But then something like when Nala and Simba meet each other when they're adults, when they see each other again, that was a big shock. When you saw that, they were like, whoa, that's amazing. How did you... And then Simone's like, what's going on here? He's like, you don't understand. She's my best friend. This is amazing. How did you get here? There's shock and concern like, oh my gosh. And they take the time to really talk about that. Not in this one. They're just like, oh my god, it's Nala. Oh my god, it's Simba. Whoa! Cool, great, awesome. Now let's have... Can you feel the love tonight? They just go right into it. There's no segue, nothing. They literally just say, oh, hey, you were my best friend, cool. Run along. Sing the song. Now I'll get to the point with the songs. The songs were horrendous. Horrendous. Jon Favreau doesn't know how to do a musical number. The thing that he did with King Louie and the Jungle Book, that was okay. I thought that was fine. But these ones, the I Just Can't Wait to Be King was bad. This Be Prepared, which was severely cut short. I was in shock that they just kind of glanced over it like it wasn't that big of a deal. Hakuna Matata was okay. As I said, Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen before are okay, but there was no pizzazz. There was no fun with it. It sounded boring. Everything sounded boring. The grand scale of Circle Life was probably the only thing that was really good, and you see all that in the trailer, really. It's just a shot-for-shot remake of the original, just like this whole movie. He doesn't know how to make good song musical numbers. Like, especially if you compare to Aladdin. Guy Ritchie. I never thought Guy Ritchie could be good at making musical numbers, but those were visually spectacular, and the colors and the magic and the lights and everything. I understand that you're in a savannah, which you kind of have to make it more realistic, and I'm not wanting those bright teal 90s colors that they had and Can't Just Wait to Be King. Just can't wait to be... I can't talk anymore. I don't expect those 90s colors, but at least give a little bit of color. The colors were droll and brown and lifeless. This savannah that's normally beautiful, there's no green around. There's no green. The comparison from when the hyenas and Scar took over and it's a deserted wasteland to the original Pride Rock, there's barely that much difference. There's just a little bit of grass. Visually, there's nothing different. Barely. Whereas with Timon and Pumbaa's hideaway, that's all trees and color and green. That's what Pride Rock should have looked like. That's my overall thoughts of it as best I could after seeing it. I'm just so upset because I wanted to love this movie. I did. I was so hyped for this. And that's one of my favorites. And I'm not sure if people felt the same with Beauty and the Beast because that was their favorite, or Aladdin because that was their favorite, or Jungle Book, or Cinderella, or whatever. That was just the emotions. There's no emotions with any of those. That's what I hated. No emotions. Jon Favreau could do this. Do you remember Shere Khan in the Jungle Book? If you saw the Jungle Book, Shere Khan was so menacing. The facial expressions that a tiger could do. Why didn't the lions do that? The lions didn't do that. They were bland. They were lifeless. I know I'm ranting and going on and on again, but I just want to know, if you've seen this yet, what did you guys think about it? Did you guys like it? Did you guys like it more than the original movie? God, I hope not. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought about it. And, just disappointed. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and whatever else I can come up with. Alright. Thanks, everybody!